All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. How's everybody's doing on this Sunday evening, 6:30 Central Standard Time? I'm going to kind of wait, kind of hang out here for a couple minutes and see who all joins in here and stuff. But one of those things I kind of decided to do a little, kind of slightly spur of the moment. There you are, Danielle, lady of the hour, since you're the person doing or with that's supplying the questions, I should say. Won't bring you on camera, um, but I thank you for the questions, and I'll get to them here in just a second. I just want to see if anybody gets on here real quick. But one thing I do want to mention is how I got there's for anybody who does wind up tuning into this thing. Um, how I got the name Johnny Metal. It's kind of an interesting little story. I'm going to quick give you the little crib notes version of this. Back in 2002, right after I moved here to Birmingham, Alabama, there was a little venue that brought in Christian hardcore bands. Most of them were local, but sometimes they would bring in a signed band. And they had this band, they were bringing this band in called Still Breathing. And they had released only one album, but I had gotten it when I was still living in Maryland. And for whatever reason, I really dug the sound. I thought it was pretty cool. And so I kind of wanted to see them. And so sure enough, they were playing at this place in Birmingham. So I traveled up to see where this place was and thought, okay, this looks a little dicey. But anyway, so I go to this little place, and it's like the size of like my living room. This really wasn't all that big. Um, but I eventually got to know the guy putting the shows on there. His name is Joey, and he knew that I was into metal. He just, that was the whole word association thing. Johnny Metal came up, boom. That's how I got the name. There's no radio story to it, but that's just how I got the name. Joey that's how he could remember my name, because he knew I liked metal. So there you go. And then the rest, they say, is history. So the person that supplied me with the 5 questions that I'm going to throw at you tonight came from Miss Danielle here, and she is actually somebody I met at when the Shema moved on to a different location, actually at a church in their youth room, and had much more room to do stuff. Hey, Bob Fridley and Lynn Selk, how are you? How you guys doing? Not playing. I'm actually answering questions today. A little different. Yeah, I know. Long time no see, Lynn. Anyway, Danielle is somebody I met at the Shema, and I was a moderator on a message board that we had that the Shema put together, and through it was a Cathedral of the Cross, and so between the shows and then between the message boards and stuff, I got to know Danielle a little bit, and until the Shema kind of folded and everybody kind of went their separate ways, and I kind of lost track of everybody, but there was just a lot of people who didn't want to let Johnny Metal go. So Danielle was one of them. Rebecca and Munch and Sean and Tyson and a few others would also fall in that category. So there's some folks out there who wanted to keep Johnny Metal alive, because apparently Johnny Metal meant something to them, and I very much appreciate that. So whatever it was, I was to them a friend, a mentor, whatever. I just tried to be a positive influence to a lot of those people, and I really appreciated what they said to me. Squirrel would be another guy. Craig, bassist for God, and I'm just name dropping a bunch of people now. So anyway, let's get on into this. Enough of me yapping about ancient history here. Okay, so 5 questions, basically things. What kind of things would you want to know about me? I don't know how often I'll do these, but this is just going to be something kind of fun that I thought I would throw out there. So I actually threw this to Danielle because we've been having the chance to jam a little bit off and on, not a lot, and hopefully one day we'll actually bring our talents together and show that on a video here. But so I threw it to her because I've told her a lot of different stories about like some of the songs I wrote back in high school and just different things like that. So, and there's a lot of other stories of my life that I shared with her. So, and she found them very educational, I think was a word she used, and entertaining, emotional maybe. I can't remember some of the words she used, but anyway, I thought, well, hey, let's just try this. So, okay, first question of the day. And most of these are music or DDPY related, so just so you get the idea. Okay, first question. Who or what band is your biggest musical inspiration and why? This is actually kind of a tough question. I always said Randy Rhoads was probably my big inspiration to want to pick the guitar up. Even though my playing sounds absolutely nothing like him. In fact, when I do play, I don't really know if I sound like anybody in particular. But I would say Randy was the main reason for picking the guitar up, because I just fell in love with Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. And I probably would also throw in Angus Young. Probably Jimmy Page, also. So, I would probably say Randy, the Randy Ozzy era, maybe probably Led Zeppelin. I would think Led Zeppelin over the years has probably taken over a little bit. Wasp would definitely be a big influence. Definitely could see that in my lyrics and the stuff I wrote in high school. And they kind of are my go-to band, I guess, now. Even though there's a period of time I don't listen to their stuff, but wow, I'm seeing all kinds of people getting on here. Iron Nurse is there, Keith Broderick. Man, I graduated high school with Keith Broderick. How you doing, brother? Tiffany's on there. Hey, Keelans are back in the States. Hope you guys had fun down there in Mexico. So, yeah, I think that would be some big influences for me. Ozzy Randy era, probably Led Zeppelin and Wasp. If I had to list the top three, those would probably be it. Why those bands though? I'll start with Randy. Randy's playing was nothing like anything I'd heard before. Before Randy, all I was listening to was Kiss, or then I moved on to AC/DC. So it was much more rock and blues based. When Randy came on board, he really took guitar playing to a totally different level. I really hadn't even heard Van Halen yet at this point. I think I might have gotten Fair Warning by this point, and which is a wonderful, wonderful album. But I would say as a whole, I would definitely Randy's playing was it for sure. As I've gotten older, I would say, when I was in my 20s, I was really huge into Wasp. Late teens, early 20s, I was really, really into Wasp. And that definitely reflected in my lyrics and a lot of my mind attitude at the time. As I've gotten older, I've taken a step back and I've started listening to a lot of Led Zeppelin. And I love Jimmy Page. The mastery of what he puts together in the studio and his playing, even though it's very sloppy live, he was a master in the studio. And there were some things I picked up on him that I tried, like when I do the song Scars Too Deep to Heal, there's a lot of drone chords, and he did a little bit of that kind of stuff, and different things like that. So that would be how I would answer that question. Okay, question number 2. If you could play with any musician, alive or dead, who would it be? Well, again, actually, there's so many musicians that if I was even in their presence, I would probably just lay my guitar down and just say, I'm not worthy. But gosh, I mean, Here again, Randy Rhodes would certainly be one. Um, I would probably go back to my influences there. I would probably say Randy. I'd probably would say Jimmy Page. I would probably say Blackie Lawless. What? Somebody threw an angry face. What? What was that about? um, Gosh, those would probably be it. I mean, there's probably a lot of others. Steve Rowe from Mortification, if he wasn't, if his health was better, that would probably be a good choice. Um, Robert Johnson, and Blind Willie Johnson, from the old blues days, the old Delta blues. Just gosh, I would love to have spent a day with those guys, just to have experienced what their life was like. Um, so that would be who I would go with there. All right, question number 3. What is your favorite food or meal to eat? Okay, for the longest time, I loved wings. I would love to go just eat wings all the time. And I probably still could if they were more, if they were more of a healthier, if they were prepared healthy, gluten free, and if it wasn't like so deep fried and all that kind of stuff. I would really have to be careful now because I just don't eat that kind of stuff anymore. Pizza was always a big thing I ate a lot, and I really don't even eat pizza a lot. Right now, I mean, most of what I eat is most of the time I eat like gluten-free and organic cereals with almond milk or protein milk or something like that. And sandwiches. I really don't eat. My diet has just gotten so laid back and so light because I don't really take the time to eat a whole lot because I don't really need. I guess I don't gorge myself because I was really bad about portions. I would if you put a pizza in front of me, I could probably eat the whole thing. If you put 40 wings in front of me, I'd eat them all. You put like 100 oysters or oysters or clams in front of me, and a big gallon of steamed butter or melted butter, I'd probably eat all that too. But so portions is a big deal for me. But I do a lot of I right now I get my skillet and I do a lot of stir fries sometimes. I'll stir fry some beef tips or some chicken tips or pork tips or something like that, and some veggies or like today I did another thing I do is I put some olive oil in a pan, and I just soak some chicken breasts in there, and then I put some salt and pepper or spices or different stuff like that. And sometimes I'll even cut some veggies and put it in there. Like that's what I did today. I did that with I cut up a zucchini and a squash and a thing of bok choy, and I stuck that in there and cooked it in the oven at 425 for about 20 minutes. And then I pull it out. I cover the whole thing with foil and let it go for another 10 minutes, and then I eat from there. And it's very, very tasty. So, but basically, I just really just try to eat. I try to eat healthy. I try to watch my gluten. I try to watch my dairy. Try to stay away from any processed foods and a lot of things like that. Just try to eat clean, and that's really what I try to do. So, right now, it's just very unexciting. So, sorry about that. Yes, it is actually, and I have to admit that Tiffany, that Coco Minos seemed to be a lot better for Sabrina to be able to cook with, for us to cook with. I think she told me the other day when we were making something with olive oil that she said, "Hey, cut back on the olive oil. Something's not been sitting well with me with olive oil lately." So I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that." so we've been kind of I've had to kind of watch my olive oil with her now. So. Okay, all right, question number 4. Of all the other weight loss or exercise programs out there, what made you choose DDPY to work and stick with? Okay, why did I choose DDPY? It'll be almost 3 years ago. I was weighing about 260, 270 pounds. Hey, Graham, how are you? Michael Null, how are you doing, brother? I was weighing about 260, 270, and I felt miserable. My body ached as soon if I was sitting for a long period of time and I went to stand up, my feet and my body was just in agony. Riding home from work, I would get stuck in traffic, and it would take me 30, 40 minutes to drive home. And I would get home to go out and get the mail, and I was just I was in agony. It just hurt me so much to get up. A dear friend of mine, Teresa, who she's the sister of of my girlfriend and from high school, Angel, and I've stayed friends with her over all these years. Teresa knew that I was a big wrestling fan, and I had heard about this DDP yoga, and I knew it did wonders for Jake Roberts. Well, they came out with there was a documentary done on him called The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. Raise your hands if you've seen it, everybody out there. So I wound up watching it on Netflix and by myself, and I was very moved by what the crew did. What Dallas and the crew did for Dallas, or did for Jake, and I saw the program work, exemplified in there, and so, and then I saw the WWE produced video on Scott Hall. They mentioned DDP yoga in that as well. And so I thought, I'm going to look into this a little bit. So I did. And I said to Sabrina, I was like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. If they're saying easy on the joints, light to no impact on the joints, cardio workout, why not? What have I got to lose? Well, within a year, I was down about 90 pounds. I guess I got to around 170-ish or below 170. I think I actually got into 160s. Actually, I've kind of gone up a bit. I'm actually about 181 now. I kind of let myself go a little bit. Got a little crazy with the smoothie place next door to us, but that's a good thing. And I didn't work out as much. But today was the first day I actually was on the mat for about 2 hours, almost 2 hours. That's the first time I've done that in a long time in one day. So Kid Johnny C, which is what I am on the leaderboard of sorts, he's making a comeback of sorts. So, but DDPY is just such a great workout regime. It ties in yoga positions. It ties in cardio, just good basic cardio calisthenics, rehabilitation positions, dynamic resistance. Great cardio workout, engaging muscles. Look at Jared Leland. For us DDP yoga folks, just look at Jared Leland. That guy is probably in full dynamic resistance when he's sleeping. But and I love you, Jared, for it. But no, seriously, the man's ripped, and that's all he does is DDPY. That's saying something. And he's a clean vegan diet. I mean, it's great stuff. Colleen, I'm so glad you tuned on to this. You're gonna have to watch the whole full part of this. My good friend Colleen, I'm gonna have to ask her for 5 questions maybe, but anyway. But DDPY, great, low impact on the joints. I took to it like butter to heat, and I fell in love with it. I took to eating cleaner, and I started losing the weight, and I must have made enough noise. I got recognized by the company. If you buy the current DVDs and program guide, there's a bunch of men and women on the back cover. You'll see my picture on the back, on that corner, back lower corner. I've never done a video. I've never got a call from Dallas Page, and that's fine. I'm not looking for any of that kind of stuff. But to know that I was actually included on their program guide is kind of saying something. That's kind of cool. Even though I'm not the bottom corner, it's still pretty cool. So I'm happy for that. It's a great program. It's definitely worth a try. I'm rusty as can be on the map because I was trying to do some balance stuff. There's been the head of certification recently lost his wife to cancer. Cancer sucks. I'm not going to go with the F cancer. That's as far as I'll go with that. And somebody put a list together of the Laura Walden DDPY challenge. So it's a bunch of live workouts featuring Hayden. That was Laura's husband. And a lot of the balance stuff has really been kicking my butt. I'm terrible with it right now because I'm having to get, my muscles are trying to get back, and I'm really struggling a lot with the quads and a lot of muscle stuff. So it's getting back there, but slowly but surely. But I'm going to keep working it. I want to try and get myself back on routine. Okay, last question, and I'm going to wrap this up. Will you be planning or on recording any music for another CD in the future? Okay. I got to write the songs first. If I do anything CD related or music related, I got to write songs, and I think between Danielle, we're gonna work on some music together. Hopefully, I'm getting some ideas, and once in a while, and I'll video record them, and I'll throw it to her, and we'll kind of come up with some stuff. Maybe kind of see what we can piece together, and see what happens. But I really would love to. For some of you, you know this. I made a CD, and I gave it out to some friends and family. And it really meant the world to me to finally say I could put a CD together. It featured songs that I've written and and have recordings of. It features 4 songs of that I contributed maybe a little bit of music, but I didn't write the lyrics or the main frame of the song when I was in the band with Joey that I mentioned earlier, in a band called Empire in Ruins. And then there's a very embarrassing song, which is a song that I wrote when I was in high school called Sadist. And it's very noisy, very loud, but it was a part of me. And because I recently discovered a cassette of some other songs that me and my friend Dave did, and it's horrible. It's horrible to listen to, but at least Sadist sounds pretty good. So in comparison, but anyway, but yes, If I can get the songs together and make something happen out of it, heck yeah, I would love to. In fact, I actually have something that I dug out from at my church today. Their message was basically tying up the end of 2 Corinthians chapter 13, but Pastor Matt brought in Acts chapter 3, and it talks about this beggar at a place called the Beautiful Gate, and he was lame and couldn't walk, and he would just go there year after year after year, and he would just sit there and just getting money. And the Apostle Peter and John came to him, and they said, "I don't have money to give you, but in the name of Jesus," he reached down his hand to this man and said, I be raised to walk. And this guy starts jumping in joy. And I heard a preacher talk about this about 17 years ago, back in 2002. And I actually started writing a song called In the Name, and I allude to that story from the Beautiful Gate. And so I might actually kind of play with this a little bit and maybe play it to my small group just for fun. But it's stuff that I have little pieces of songs that I kind of would like to fool with just as a personal thing. I started writing a song once called 245, and that was a song I was originally going to try to do something for my parents with that because they had this thing about 245, and they would mom and dad would just sit back and just just have tea time, and Dad set a lot of the clocks that didn't work around the house at 2:45, so it was just kind of a random thing. But I took the song into a totally different perspective, and I did a lot of stuff like that. I have another song called Father's Hand, which is about Barabbas. A lot of the songs I have pieces of stuff of is a lot more biblical based, but it's stuff that's been more of a part of me, and that's what I would want to share with the world. I want to share One Chance Meeting with the world. That's another song from my old days that I still had the lyrics to. So stuff like that. I want to be able to do this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'd love to do this kind of stuff. I think it'd be awesome. So anyway, that's 5 questions with Johnny Metal. I hope for anybody who tuned in, I see only 2 people are on the thing here, so I don't know exactly how many people are still hanging around. But I hope you had fun with this. I hope this was fun for me. Hopefully, I'll get to do this again. I'd like to maybe message a few people and say, hey, what do you think? What would you think would be some fun to do this kind of thing with? I don't want to get too wild and too crazy with horror stories of my life. Maybe there's a way of exploring that, but we'll see. But anyway, I just wanted to have a little fun. Just wanted to see how everybody's doing. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. Hope you guys are going to have a great 4th of July coming up this week. Hey, one of these days, I got to start playing. So, Danielle, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are awesome. I appreciate it. It would have been awesome to let you do this on camera, but I understand with Haley, it's probably better to not do that. So I certainly understand, and I appreciate your willingness to send questions to do this. You rock, girlfriend. I appreciate you. And I promise we will get back to jamming sometime soon. So with that said, I hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys soon. See ya.